This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Hey! Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maham and I crochet cute things. Please don't skip this part of the video because I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some important bits in this video. Oh, we are having a few cat difficulties today. This is Chai. He is my little kitten. So today we're going to be crocheting squishmallows or stuffed toy, and I'm going to be showing you all the techniques that I've learned that you can use to create your own designs. So first of all, if you are not making the duck or if you're not making the frog with me, then I want you to go ahead and pick out some inspirations for your squishmallows, because I'm going to be showing you how to crochet any size that you want for the body, and then you can add whatever details you like. But if you're crocheting the duck and the frog with me, then go ahead and open up the written pattern, which is linked in the description box. And then after watching these parts of the video, you can go ahead and skip to the frog details or the duck details. Sorry. Do not skip the heavy talking parts of this video. I know it can be so annoying to watch through, but that is where I explain everything that I'm doing, and if you skip those, you might not be able to make the projects by yourself. I am such a strong believer in showing you guys the techniques and skills that you need to create your own pieces, so that if you see a project on Pinterest, if you see a project on Pinterest and you can't find a pattern for it, if you can't find any tutorial for it, then you can just look at it and make it yourself. Now let's talk about the material that you're going to need. So I'm going to be using two different kinds of yarns. I used a cotton mixed with acrylic yarn for the frog, and then I also used fluffy yarn. So depending on whatever kind of yarn you're using, I have linked the exact yarn that I've used on my Amazon storefront, and the link is in the description box. I used a 4.5mm hook for both of my little squishmallows, but I've seen most people who do amigurumi or make stuffed toys, I've seen them use 6mm hooks. I would personally recommend anything larger than a 4mm hook. You can use a 6mm hook for these fluffy yarns. That is the recommended size, but I just used a 4.5mm hook because that is my preference, and I like my stitches to be really tight so I can see them better. And you're also going to need some safety eyes. I've linked those on my Amazon storefront as well. Basically all the material that I've used is linked on there, but if you don't have safety eyes, if you can't find them, you can also just use black beads like I did. You're going to need a plastic needle, you're going to need a sewing kit, some thread if you have some. These are just so that you can sew on the details. I didn't use any thread, I just used a regular plastic needle to sew everything on, and then I just used the yarn to attach things. So if you don't have thread, you don't need that. You can just use yarn with a plastic needle. And then lastly, you're gonna need stuffing to stuff up your squishmallow. You don't need to get any fancy stuffing, you don't need to order it from anywhere. Just go ahead, look around in your room, just find an old cushion or an old pillow that you don't want to use anymore, or go to a thrift store, or just go to a shop and get a really cheap cushion or pillow and literally just cut it open and grab the stuffing from inside. That's what I like to do. Lastly, I want to address a question that I've been getting a lot recently, whether you can sell the pieces that you make with my patterns and tutorials. Previously, I wasn't really comfortable with that because I wanted to keep the original designs for my own shop, but I have postponed that. So it's completely okay for you to sell the pieces that you make in your small business, in your online store, in your Etsy store. It's completely okay with me as long as you give me credit as the pattern creator, as inspiration. It's completely fine with me. Go ahead and create your pieces. Since we're on the topic, Chai reminded me that this would be the perfect opportunity to talk a little bit about today's sponsor, which is Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform with marketing tools and analytics that you can use to create your own website and build your online presence, or start your online store where you can sell digital or physical products. You can design and create your dream website all by yourself by simply selecting one of the beautifully designed templates and then making it your own, whether you want to start a blog, create a personal CV, or launch a business. With a huge range of various tools and easy-to-use templates, you can start your online store or business to sell digital and physical products. Squarespace also has member areas where you can connect with your audience and generate revenue through gated, members-only content through, for example, a membership for crochet patterns. If you're a designer or creator like myself and want to showcase your work, Squarespace has a fantastic portfolio and gallery feature to display your projects in customizable galleries. You can send email communication and leverage audience insights all in one easy-to-use platform. So if you'd like to create a website of your own, I highly recommend that you head to squarespace.com, try it out for yourself with a free trial, and once you're ready to launch, you can use the link in the description box to save 10% off of your first purchase of a domain or website. I'm going to give you a quick summary explanation just so that you have an idea of what we're going to be working on when we get started. Let's say that these are the 4 different shapes that you can make of your squishmallow, or the 4 different shapes that you want to make. They can be any size. We're going to be dividing any shape, any size, any squishmallow that you want to make into 3 parts. You're going to have the top, you're going to have the body, and then you're going to have the bottom of the squishmallow. These 3 parts are made up in 3 different ways. So the top part is made out of increases. This means that you're going to start off with a very small crochet circle and you're going to make it bigger and bigger by doing some increases in the rows. This will help you decide what size your squishmallow is going to be. Whatever size you make your increase part, that's how big your overall squishmallow is going to be. And to make the body, we're going to repeat rows. This means that you're going to be doing the same number of stitches in every row to make the body, to give the length that you want for the body. Once you have that, to end your work and make the bottom part of the squishmallow, you're going to do some decreases. This means that you're going to decrease the number of stitches until you come back to that little point that you had. I'm going to pop in real quick and show you with a demonstration what these 3 sections mean. You've got your top part right here, which are the increases, and this determines the size of your squishmallow. However big you make your increase rounds over here will determine how big your squishmallow is going to be overall. And then your repeat rows are these body rows right over here that repeat over and over again, and this makes the length for your body, so how long your body is going to be. And then at the very end, we've got our decrease rows, which basically end up your squishmallow over here, and these rows are the exact same number as your increase rows over here. So increase rows, same number, decrease rows, same number. The only difference is that you do some increases here, and over here you do some decreases. By following these 3 parts, you can make any body size that you want. So essentially just remember that you need to make the top part with increases, then you can do repeat rows to build the length, and then you can do decreases to pull it all together and end your work. Let's say you wanted to add arms. Again, you're going to do increases, you're going to do repeat rows to build length, and then you can do decreases to attach it and end your work. And this is the same for the eyes. You're going to do increases to build the size that you want, repeat rows to get the length that you want, and then you don't have to do decreases because you can just attach it to the top of the head. Kind of looks like a frog. So this is how you can make any size or shape that you want for your squishmallow or any other amigurumi stuffed toy that you want to make. In this part of the video, I'm going to show you how to create the increase section or the top part of your squishmallow. I'm going to be using my frog squishmallow as a demonstration. I'm using cotton mixed with acrylic yarn for this piece, but I'm also going to be showing you how to work with fuzzy or soft yarn later on. Step number 1 is to start with a magic ring. If you don't know how to make a magic ring, or if making a magic ring is not comfortable, or if it's too hard for you, you can skip a few seconds forward where I show you what other technique to use if you don't want to use a magic ring. You're going to use this hand and you're going to wrap your yarn, holding onto it like this. Wrap it around your finger, making sort of like an X shape over here. And then you're going to grab your hook and you're going to slide it under, grabbing this end and twisting it up like that. And then while the yarn is still on your fingers, you're going to chain 1. So just grab onto this like that and pull it through over here like that, and then you have your chain 1, and you can let this go and you're gonna have a magic ring. Here's how to do this if you don't want to work with a magic ring. You're going to take your yarn, whatever yarn you're using. I'm going to show you with fuzzy yarn for demonstration, and then you're going to make a slip knot. This is how I like to make my slip knot. It's just a regular slip knot like that. Once you've got your slip knot, you can chain 4, 3 or 4 regular chains. I'm going to do 4. And once you've got your chains, you're going to insert your hook into that very first chain that you made. So go there, insert your hook into that very first chain that you made at the beginning. Once you've got your hook through, you're going to grab this end and you're going to slide it through both the loops on your hook like that. Since I'm using fuzzy yarn, it might be a bit tricky to see, but essentially what this is going to do is it's going to make a little hole in the middle of your chains. So if you pull your chains apart, you should see a little hole right over there. And this hole is going to work as our magic ring. So instead of inserting your stitches into a magic ring, you're going to insert your stitches into this hole. So I'm just going to chain one like we did for the magic ring. And this chain one doesn't count as a stitch. It's just there to help you start your round, and we only do it in the beginning. Now you can start inserting 8 single crochets inside this circle over here. You can keep your finger in it, insert your hook, and then just single crochet like normal. Make sure you keep your circle stretched out so that you don't lose track of it, and make sure that you don't accidentally work into the chains. Make sure you're working into the hole that is in the middle of the chains, or the circle that's made by joining the chains together like that. And there you go. That's how you can create amigurumi projects without using a magic ring. Now you have your magic ring, and you're going to be inserting single crochets into this ring. So to do that, make sure that you're working over this end and that there's a long end over here. You're going to hold on to this, and you're going to insert your hook under, grabbing onto those loops, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through both the loops on your hook like that, making your single crochet. So one more time, insert your hook, grabbing on both these ends, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both the loops on your hook. Insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both. Here's how I like to hold my magic ring to make it a bit easier to work with. I just keep everything nice and tight and insert my hook into the space that I have left right over here. Make sure to keep count and have 8 single crochets at the end. Once you've got the number of single crochets that you want, you can pull this a little bit tighter, but not too tight, otherwise it's going to be hard to work into your first single crochet. Now we're going to be working in rounds with some increases. I'm going to explain what an increase is in just a bit, but I just wanted to let you guys know that whenever we're starting a round, we're going to be using a bobby pin or a stitch marker to mark it in place so that we know where our round starts from. Insert our hook into the first single crochet that we made, not the chain, that doesn't count as a stitch. Insert your hook into that very first single crochet that you made. You might need to make it a little bit looser to be able to insert your hook into it. Make sure you grab both the loops. Once you've got that, you're going to do a single crochet in it. And then you're going to take your stitch marker and bobby pin, and you're going to mark this single crochet, because this is the very first single crochet of round 2. Now in round 2, we're going to be inserting 2 single crochets in every stitch. This is a stitch right here. These 2 loops make up 1 stitch. Now we're going to do 2 single crochets in every stitch all around, and whenever you insert 2 single crochets in 1 stitch, that's called an increase. So from now on, whenever I say increase, it means that you're going to insert 2 single crochets in the same stitch, just like I did over there. I'm going to show you one more time. We're going to go into the next stitch, and we're going to insert 2 single crochets. So you insert your hook, you do 1 single crochet, and then in that same stitch, you're going to insert your hook again and do another single crochet, making an increase. Now I'm working into this last stitch before we have our stitch marker bobby pin. So again, 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And now we are done with our second round. Now go ahead and count. So starting from the stitch where you have your bobby pin, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Since we have the right stitch count, we're ready to move on to round 3. To start our next round, we are going to be working into the stitch where our bobby pin is. So remove your marker, insert 1 single crochet into that space. Since this is our first stitch of round 3, we have to mark it so that we know where our round ends and where it begins. Now the pattern for round 3 is going to be 1 single crochet and then an increase. That means that you're going to do 1 single crochet, and in the next stitch you're going to do an increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So you did 1, now in that same stitch you're going to do another, making an increase. Now repeat this pattern all the way around. So you do 1 single crochet, and then you do an increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. At the end of the round, make sure you've got 24 stitches. Now we're ready to start round 4. So once again, remove your bobby pin. In that same stitch, you're going to insert your first single crochet of the next round, and then put your bobby pin back in to mark the end and the beginning of the next round. Now our pattern is going to be 2 single crochets and then an increase. That means you're going to do 1 single crochet, in the next stitch 1 single crochet. Now you've done 2 single crochets, and then you're going to do an increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So now what's going to happen is that as we do more rounds, the pattern is going to get 1 more single crochet every time before you do an increase. So let's do it. Now we got to do 2 single crochets and then an increase. So 1 in the next stitch, 2, and then in the next stitch an increase. And now you're going to repeat this all around. So 1, 2, and then an increase. That's the end of round 4. Now we're going to start round 5. So once again, insert your first single crochet of the next round where your bobby pin or stitch marker was, and then mark it so that you know where your previous round ended and where your next round begins. Now our pattern is going to be 3 single crochets and then an increase. So 1 in the next stitch, 2 in the next stitch, 3, and then you're going to do an increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Now repeat this pattern once again all around. 3 single crochets and then an increase. Here I've finished my 3 single crochets in the next stitches, and then I'm going to do an increase. We're going to start our next round. So once again, just repeat the same steps that you've been doing. I'm going to start my next round in the place where my bobby pin was, making the first single crochet of my next round and then marking it so I know where the end and beginning is. Now our pattern is going to be 4 single crochets and then an increase. So we did our first 1, 2, 3, 4, and then an increase. I also forgot to clarify, your first single crochet counts towards your pattern. So when you do your first single crochet, you're already starting the pattern for the pattern that you have to make. And now just repeat this all the way around. That is the end of my round. Now I have the size that I want for my frog, so I'm going to stop doing increase rounds here and I'm going to move on to the next part. If you want to make the size of your squishmallow bigger, keep doing more rounds and by repeating the pattern. When I say repeat the pattern, that means you're going to do 1 more single crochet before you do an increase. So for example, in the next round you would do 5 single crochets and then an increase, and in the next round you would do 6 single crochets and then an increase, and you're going to keep doing that until you have the size that you want. The repeat rows are basically when you insert 1 single crochet in every stitch and you're going to stop doing increases. No increases, no decreases, it's just 1 single crochet in every stitch, and your total stitch count should remain the same for all the rounds. I had 48 stitches in my last round. That means that in all of my rounds for the body, which I'm going to be repeating, my total stitch count in all of those rounds should be 48. Let's get started, and if you're still confused, trust me, you'll get the hang of it once you do it with me. So again, we're going to insert 1 single crochet to start our round, and you're still always going to mark the first stitch. Now just go ahead and insert 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around. Just 1 single crochet, no increases, no decreases, nothing, just 1 single crochet. And that's the end of my round. Once again, I have a total of 48 stitches in this round. I am so sorry for the background noise. It's cleaning day. I hope it's not too disruptive. Now we're just going to keep doing rounds with 1 single crochet in each stitch. And you're going to start to notice your work curling. It's curling to build the body, to build your length for your stuffed toy. So you're just going to, once again, start your next round by marking the first single crochet. And go ahead and just insert 1 single crochet in each stitch. Once you reach the end of the round, keep repeating this. So keep doing 1 single crochet in each stitch for all the rounds until you have the size that you want for the body. As you do your repeat rows, you're going to notice them going downwards. This is because since there are no more increases, they won't go outwards and increase in size. Instead, they'll go downwards to build the body of your squishmallow or stuffed toy. So just keep going, keep doing the repeat rounds until you have the size that you want for the body. After you've completed the body, the next step is to add all your details and then move on to the decrease section. Please add your details like the eyes, the mouth, the wings, whatever else you want to add before you close up your stuffed toy or squishmallow. You can skip ahead to the duck or the frog part of the video where I show you how to make the details for each of those squishmallows. Once you're done adding all the details, we're going to start by doing the decrease rounds. And what this is going to do is it's going to close up your frog like that. So now we're going to be repeating the pattern that we did for the increases, but instead of doing an increase, we're going to do a decrease. We're going to keep decreasing until we come back to our original stitch count, which was 8 over there. So right now we've got 48 and we need to bring the stitch count back to 40. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by inserting 1 single crochet to start our round. And then again, you're just going to mark it. So even for the decrease rounds, you're going to be marking your stitches. Our pattern is going to be 4 single crochets and then a decrease. If you remember, in our very last round of increases, we did 4 single crochets and then an increase. So we're basically just repeating the pattern, but the opposite way around. So I did my first single crochet. We're gonna do 2, 3, 4, and now we're gonna do a decrease. We're going to do something called an invisible decrease. To do this, you're going to grab 1 loop over here, so that front loop, and then you're going to take your hook and you're going to grab the loop of the other stitch like that. You're going to yarn over and you're going to pull your hook through both those loops and then do a single crochet like normal. So we're going to do this one more time. Remember, you've already done these, so you're going to go into the next stitch and repeat the pattern, which is 4 single crochets and then decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're going to do another invisible decrease. So you're going to grab onto this loop, then you're going to grab onto the loop next to it in the other stitch, yarn over, pull through both the loops, and then single crochet. And now repeat this pattern all the way around, and at the end you should have a total of 40 stitches. You're going to start to notice that your frog is coming inwards. Now we're going to do our next round. This time we're going to do 3 single crochets and then a decrease. Start your round like you always do by doing a single crochet and then marking it. Now our pattern is 3 single crochets and then a decrease. So I did 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to do an invisible decrease. So you're going to grab onto the loop right over here. 1, push your hook down, grab onto this one, and then single crochet. So this is the exact same steps as your increase rounds. The only difference is that instead of doing an increase, you're doing a decrease. I'm doing my next round, same exact steps. The pattern is going to be 2 single crochets and then an invisible decrease. Remember that your first single crochet, the one that you put your bobby pin in, counts as the first single crochet of your pattern. So since the pattern is 2 single crochets and then a decrease, I've got 1 already. I'm going to do 2, and then I'm going to do my invisible decrease. As you do the rounds, you're going to notice that your piece is getting smaller and smaller. Once you've got only a bit of space left, you can add in your stuffing before you close it up. I'm close to the end over here, and now what we're going to do is we're just going to decrease all of the stitches, no single crochet here. So you're just gonna, from the very first stitch, you're gonna start your invisible decreases, and that is the first stitch of my round. I'm still gonna mark it. I still want to know where the beginning and end of each round is gonna be. But apart from that, you're just going to decrease, decrease, decrease all the way around with no single crochets in between. It's going to be hard as it gets smaller. It's going to be harder to work within your stitches, so just keep a nice even tension. Now what I like doing at the end to fill up the space is just doing a few more invisible decreases just to close it up. So you're just gonna decrease again until it's all closed up. So there's no specific pattern for this part. I just like to freehand it and keep on decreasing until it closes up, and then I'm going to show you how to end it. Okay, so look, my hole is almost filled up, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this and I'm going to go to the end over there and I'm just going to slip stitch it closed. So look, I'm just going to slip stitch, and that's going to end my work. You're just going to chain 1 or 2 to fasten off, and then you can cut this hole, tighten it, push it inside. For the eyes, you're going to start off by making a magic ring. Remember, if you don't want to work with magic ring, you can use the method that I showed you in the beginning of the video instead. But if you are making a magic ring, just grab onto the yarn, twist, and then while it's still on your fingers, you can chain 1, like that. Now we're going to be inserting 8 single crochets inside the magic ring for round 1. So 1, 2. Once you've got that, you can pull your magic ring in tighter, and then we're going to start round 2. So just like your body of the squishmallow, you're going to be working in continuous rounds. So insert your hook into that very first single crochet that you made. Ignore the chain, it doesn't count as a stitch, it's just there to help you start your round. And then you're going to insert 1 single crochet. This is going to be your first single crochet of the second round. That's why we're going to take our bobby pin and we're going to insert it to mark the beginning of the next round and the end of the previous round. You can pull this tighter. So including the one that you just worked into, make sure you insert another single crochet there, and then go all around the round inserting 2 single crochets in each stitch. So we're going to go into the next stitch. That's 1 single crochet, and then in that same stitch we're going to insert another, making a total of 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. At the end of this round, you should have a total of 16 stitches. Last stitch over here. Now remember, this is the increase part of my object or piece that I'm making. So just like the body, these have the same steps. We just did our increase round. Next, we're going to do our repeat rows to build some length for the piece. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch for the next round. Make sure that you mark the first stitch of the round with your bobby pin or stitch marker. Don't forget this step, please. Now go ahead and just insert 1 single crochet in each stitch. In the next round, you're going to do the exact same thing, which is just 1 single crochet in each stitch. Remember, you should have a total of 16 stitches in this round. I just flipped my work inside out because I like to use this side. But once you're done, we're just going to end this, remove your bobby pin, and in that stitch where your bobby pin was, just do 1 little slip stitch, like that. And now pull a long end, because we're going to sew this onto our frog, and then pull and just tighten this. Next, I'm going to show you how to make this black pupil. Now you can also just use safety eyes for this, but I don't have safety eyes of the size that I like, so I'm going to be showing you how I crocheted this black circle. I'm going to start off with a magic ring, twist, and while it's still on your fingers, chain 1, and now I'm going to insert 4 single crochets. 1, 2, and 4. Once you've got your 4 single crochets, pull this tight, and you should have sort of like this circle shape. To sew the eyes onto the frog, I'm using a plastic needle. I have linked these on my Amazon storefront as well. All I'm doing is inserting the needle through the stitches of the eyes and then bringing the needle back through the next stitch to attach it onto the frog's body. So over here, you can see me go back into the next stitch and pull it down so that I can join it in the same place that I want it to be. And then once you still have a bit of space left, what you're going to do is you're going to insert some stuffing into the eyes. So look, I've left a bit of space and I'm putting stuffing in there. And once that's done, you can just close it up by sewing all the way around. Once again, I insert my needle through the stitch, pull it out, and then put it back through the next stitch. To end my work, I just cut the yarn and tied a little knot at the back. To make the happy face, I'm once again using a plastic needle that I've attached to some black yarn. You're going to pull your needle up, and then into a stitch next to it, you're going to make a straight line. Then to give it that happy face look, you're going to take your needle and bring it through a point that's downward. So another stitch that's down, just like in the demonstration. Then you're going to take that straight line and insert your needle back through the same place where you brought it up. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull that line of yarn down, so you get sort of this like V smiley face. Make this part with fuzzy yarn instead. When working with fuzzy yarn, please make sure that you are super aware of your stitch count, because it can be very easy to miss your stitches when working with this. What I like to do is use a smaller hook size, like a 4.5mm hook rather than a 6mm hook. And what this does is it makes my stitches really tight so I can see them more clearly. So now you can see that's a stitch, that's a stitch. That's just my little tip for anyone who wants to work with fuzzy yarn as well. Once you're done, you're just going to remove your bobby pin, and in that same stitch where your bobby pin was, you're going to slip stitch to end the rounds. Like that. And then you can take your scissors and you can cut a long end, because we're going to be sewing this onto our frog, and then you're going to pull and tighten. Now you're going to sew this on. So grab your needle and push it through, attaching the circle onto your frog. And just like you sewed on the eyes, you're just going to bring your needle from under. You're going to bring it up through the stitches, attaching them in place. And go ahead and just sew this on. I'm going to show you how to make the wings with the regular white yarn so you can see the stitches easily, but what I did for my frog is that I used fluffy yarn, and that's how they turned out. I'm going to start off by making a slip knot. Once you've got your slip knot, you're going to chain 5. If you want to make your wings larger, then chain more than 5. Once you've got 5 chains, you're going to skip the first chain and single crochet into the second chain from your hook. Once you've done that, you're going to single crochet into the rest of the chains. So at the end of this, you should have 4 single crochets in total. Once you're done with that, in this very last chain over here, you're going to insert 2 more single crochets. So in that same place, just go in it again, insert 1 single crochet, and then slightly turn your work to the other side, just like I did. And in that same place where we were just working, don't know if it's focusing or not, I'm going to insert another single crochet. Like that. If you're working with fuzzy yarn, you don't have to worry about the hole, but if you're working with a slightly thicker yarn, please be careful of not stretching this out too much. Now you're going to single crochet, 1, 2, and then in the next stitch over here, you're just going to slip stitch, not single crochet. Like that. And now we're going to start the smaller part of the wings, so you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. You're going to skip the first chain and single crochet into these other 2 chains. So just follow along. This part's a bit hard to explain, but just look at how I'm turning my work and where to insert your stitches. Once you've done that, you're going to be attaching this onto your wing over here. So you're just going to go into the stitch. So look, you're going to skip this. You're going to go into this one. Just go into it. And then you're going to slip stitch. Like that. And what this is going to do is it's going to make a little curve on your wing. Just press this and there you go. You should have your cute little wing. Now what you can do is you can cut this, attach it to a needle, and pull it so that you can sew it onto your frog. Done, you're all finished. There is your cute little squishmallow. Here is my finished flat piece from round 1 to 8 for the top of my penguin. In the last round, we have a total of 64 stitches. Now we're going to be doing repeat rounds with the same number of stitches and no increases to build the body. Starting from here, I'm going to be starting my repeat rounds where there are going to be no increases. I'm just going to do 1 single crochet in each of the stitches and keep doing rounds until I have the size that I want for the body. So I'm going to insert 1 single crochet to start my next round. I'm on my 9th round. And don't forget to always mark your first single crochet of each round regardless of what round you're on. And now I'm going to go ahead and just insert 1 single crochet into each stitch. I make sure that my stitches are nice and tight so that you can see them at the top. Your stitch is this over here. I hope you can see that. So when I make my stitches really tight, I get this nice neat edge where I know where it is. So when I'm inserting my hook, I grab here and I use my finger to push my hook through. And then I just single crochet. So one more time, I can see that this is a stitch over here, this little sort of circular piece. I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to insert it under using my finger to push it through. And then I just single crochet. After doing your repeat rounds, what you should have a little bowl-like shape and basically the head of your duck. Now I'm going to show you how to change colors, and you're going to repeat these steps every time you want to change colors. When you're doing the last stitch of the round, you're going to insert your hook into the stitch like normal, pull up a loop, but you're not going to complete the single crochet. Instead, you're going to get the color that you want to switch it to and make a little loop with it and slide this through your 2 loops like that. So now you've attached your peach yarn and you can just tighten the color that you were using before. And now we're going to start the next round. So in the pattern for the duck, we're going to have the same repeat rounds, and what you can do is you can work over these to secure them in place. So I'm going to start my next round here, going to insert my hook, making sure that I am holding the color that I've switched to like this, and then I'm going to single crochet. And now I have started my next round with my new color. Steps are the exact same from now on. You're always going to mark your first stitch of the round with the bobby pin or stitch marker. Now go ahead and insert your hook into every stitch and insert a single crochet. What I'm doing with these ends over here is I'm just working over them to hide them so I don't have to weave them in later. And then you can also cut your other color that you were using. And now just go ahead and do your rounds like normal. After completing, I think, around 2 rows with this cream color, I'm going to switch. Over here, I'm just doing 2 rows with the color that I changed to. And now, after doing 2 rows, I want to switch to brown so I can start doing the body of the duck. So we're going to repeat the same steps. You're going to insert your hook into the last stitch of the round before your stitch marker or bobby pin, and you're going to get the color that you want to change to. I'm going to be changing to this brown. Once you've inserted your hook, you're just going to pull up a loop, just like you would for a normal single crochet, but you're not going to finish it. Instead, you're going to let it go, and you're going to get the color that you want to change it to, make a little loop with it, and you're going to slide that loop through the 2 on your hook, like that. And now you've changed colors. Now we're going to start our rounds with the brown or whatever color you're using, and we're going to do repeat rounds. 1 single crochet in each stitch, making a total of 64 stitches in each round until you get the size that you want for the body. I'm just going to start from here, so I'm going to insert my hook like I've been inserting, and I'm going to work over these ends just by keeping them folded here, just making a single crochet. So as you can see, it's going to be even harder for me to see where my stitches are. So I'm just going to take my bobby pin and mark the first stitch of the round. And now we're going to continue like normal, just 1 single crochet in each stitch. I'm so sorry about my cat. And then you can get your scissor and you can cut this off. I'm at the end of my round, and I'm just going to show you how I'm going to navigate working in the others. So over here, I'm doing my last single crochet of my round. And now the way that I can tell which is a stitch is by these curves on this side. I don't know if you can tell, these little curves over here. So when I see a curve, I know that that's my stitch. So over here, I see a little curve right there. So I know that's a stitch. I'm going to insert my hook right there. So this is the stitch going down. I'm going to insert it right here, using my finger to push it through like that. And then just single crochet. And then we're going to mark the first stitch of the round.
and carry on. So one more time, I see a little round bump over here, and insert my hook, push it with my finger, and get it through. And that is how I like working, or how I manage working with fuzzy yarn. And of course, I'm also keeping count in my head. I've done 3, I'm going to keep counting until I reach the end of the round, just to make sure I still have 64.
And here's what the body of your penguin should look like. Over here, we had our increases, making the flat piece. And then starting from here, we had just 1 single crochet in each stitch, making rows of 64 stitches each. Now we have to start by making the bottom piece over here. So now we're going to do decreases. Now here's how this is going to work. You're basically going to be repeating the same steps that you did for the increases, but instead of an increase, you're going to be doing an invisible decrease. So I'm starting my first round of decreases. You're going to start by just 1 single crochet, and let's just mark the first stitch of our round. Now you're going to be doing 6 single crochets and then an invisible decrease. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I've got 6 single crochets over here, including the one where I've got my bobby pin, so 6 from here till the one I just did. Now we're going to do an invisible decrease. You're going to grab only 1 loop. Look at that. Oops. All right, my camera's going to close it by itself. You're just going to grab this 1 loop over here. Make sure it's just 1. Then you're going to go into the next stitch, grab just 1 loop. Look at that, just 1 over there. And then you're just going to single crochet like normal, making an invisible decrease. So one more time, we're going to do 6 single crochets. 5. All right, I've done 6. Now we're going to do another invisible decrease. So you're going to grab only 1 loop. So remember, when we go through both of them, that's what it should look like. But since you're doing an invisible decrease, you have to go through only 1. So insert your hook in the middle. Look at that, it's coming out in the middle. We've got only 1 loop. You're going to grab it, go to the other stitch. In the middle, grab it, and then do a single crochet, making an invisible decrease. Now you're going to repeat this all around. As you do the decrease rounds, you're going to notice that it's pulling inwards, and then it's basically going to make a flat shape, just like it did for the increases. To make the little wings like I did over here, we're going to be working directly onto our squishmallow. Insert your hook through that stitch. You're just going to go in and then pick it up. Once you've done that, you're going to get the color that you're using for the wing, and you're going to attach it to this little piece over here. So make a little loop with it, and then you're just going to slide it through like that. Just going to chain 1 to secure it in place and pull this end tighter. Now we're going to be doing a total of 4 stitch counts in the row. Once you've chained 1, you're just going to go back into that same stitch, and you're going to insert a single crochet. So just pull up a loop and then yarn over, pull through both loops. like that. So you just did your first single crochet. I'm so sorry that wasn't in frame. I'll be a little bit more careful. First single crochet, and then you're gonna go into the next stitch, the one that's right next to the one that you just picked up, like that, and then you're gonna single crochet again. Now you've got 2 single crochets, you're gonna go into the next stitch over here, pick it up, single crochet. Now you've got 3 single crochets. We're gonna do our last one. And there you have it, you've got 4 single crochets now. Next we're gonna turn our work. So just chain 1, turn your work. Now go back into those 4 single crochets and insert 1 single crochet. So I'm gonna go back there and single crochet into the next one. Make sure you have 4 at the end of this row. Next, I'm doing my 3rd single crochet. Now I'm gonna do my last one right over here. Now we've got our 2nd row, like that. We're gonna start our 3rd row by chaining 1 and turn your work. Now we're going to be doing some single crochet decreases to give the wing that sort of curved shape. So after chaining 1, you're gonna insert your hook into your single crochet, pull up a loop, but don't finish the single crochet. Instead, you're gonna go into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Once you have 3 loops on your hook, you're gonna yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, like that. You're gonna repeat in the next 2 stitches, so insert your hook, pull up a loop, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop. Once you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, like that. Now you can turn your work and then slip stitch just in the corner to end your work, like that. Now we're just gonna end our work. So you can take your scissor and you can cut. And there you go. Now what I'm gonna do next is I'm just gonna take these ends and I'm gonna tuck them into the duck. I'm just gonna grab this over here. Hold on, so you just insert your hook here. You grab the end like this, bringing it to the side, and then you can just poke this into a hole wherever you want. So I'm just gonna poke it in this one.